Jim Dine first came to prominence in the early 1960s, as part of a loosely affiliated group of artists who radically expanded the boundaries of art by extending the terms of action painting into real space and time and utilizing everyday objects drawn from the street. The Venus series reflects Dine's sustained engagement since the 1970s with an older artistic tradition, and in particular his deep interest in antiquity, equally evident in a series of drawings after ancient Greek and Roman sculptures in museum collections, which he began in the mid-1980s. While his multiple variations on the Venus de Milo inevitably evoke the endless reproduction, commodification, and kitsch debasement that the iconic sculpture has been subjected to since its recovery from the Isle of Melos in 1820, this is ultimately more a background to the artist's project than its focus. By decapitating and otherwise altering its famous armless, partially draped form, Dine transforms the Venus de Milo into a less specific and more universal, archetypal figure. Moreover, however much he repeats the motif, no two of his Venuses are identical.
I have no idea what people think about anything, anymore, or I never did. And actually, I never gave a fuck. I began them in my studio in Walla Walla, Washington, where I lived part of the year, and finished them in my studio in Paris, where I lived most of the year. I primed the canvas with acrylic medium. I put on a heavy coat on the floor. Then I throw the sand onto that, wait a day or two till it dries, then stand it up and the excess comes off, and I have a ground that has a kind of history, a kind of pentimento.
Today, we're going to talk about pop artist Jim Dine. Jim Dine was born June 16, 1935. He is an American painter, sculptor, printmaker, illustrator, performance artist, and poet. Jim Dine, Andy Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein, and Claes Oldenburg are just some of the pop artists who had an emerging pop art movement during the 1950s and early 1960s. This was an emerging generation of artists during the late 1950s when pop artists began to look for inspiration in the world around them.